the start lights. Let's get off to a good one.
Good evening, everybody, or good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. You're very welcome to the opening round of the WERX WERC Rallycross Championship. It's been a long time. We've been waiting for this to get underway. And it's fantastic to be back once again for the opening round. We've got some fantastic drivers lined up, ready to go. Just having a look now at the track map and what track we're going to be at. It's the Catalunya in Spain, of course, based around the F1 circuit in Catalunya in Barcelona. So as you can see, the start-finish, well, the start line, of course, is off the tracks. They will start and then head into a left-hander uphill and then go backwards, coming back in themselves on the F1 circuit down here in the last corner of the F1 circuit, onto tarmac, gravel, and then the action zone in the Joker entry. The Joker lap, a little extension and marked in pink on the map. And we can see now that you have some incredible action there on the merges when you get there. High speed, and it's going to be really interesting to see how the guys get on through the through that section. So the lobbies are currently just being set up, and we'll be doing anything. We'll be getting underway very shortly, and we'll go through the drivers list. Of course, there'll be 5 heats coming through, which will be getting underway. So 5 heats are going to be running in parallel with each other. So we're only going to be able to broadcast one of the heat races from the from this Q1. Of course, there's a full format: Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4, full World Rallycross format. Of course, if you're unfamiliar, the qualifying heats are all about the fastest overall time across all of the heats, and of course, these are all for points as well. So we'll have Q1, Q2 through Q3 and Q4. And then we will run the semi-finals and, of course, the all-important final, which we will get to at the very end of the stream. There's a different format to run, so we'll wait and see. And welcome to everyone who is joining the stream. We'll be getting underway shortly while the lobbies are being set up, and of course we are running a custom grid order, so the guys have got to work with that as well, which is very important. It is possible to set the grids in this game. Of course, we're running on Dirt Rally 2.0, so I'm sure you're all familiar with that, and looking forward to seeing how the guys gone now. It's a very Peugeot heavy grid we've got. So there's a lot of Peugeot 208s on the grid. We've got some minis, some Audis. Somebody, I believe, has opted for the Renault Megane as well, and we have Clios as well. A few, 1 or 2 Fiestas, but I think today is going to be mostly Peugeot 208s, which we'll be seeing out on track. Of course, setups are allowed, so there's no benefit to be gained in simply the car choice. So we look forward to seeing how the guys are going to get on. So we are now waiting for the guys to finish setting up the lobbies. While we do that, of course, you can have a look at the track map that we're seeing on stream right now. Of course, we've a big calendar coming as well. So this is of course just round one of many rounds that we've got going on. So we're heading to Catalonia, and then I'll actually grab the calendar, which would be quite useful. The calendar is going to be Spain today, and then on the 8th of August, well, actually, yeah, in August, we'll then head to Montalegre in Portugal. So Spain and Portugal together. Then we go to Lydden Hill, and then to Huljes, then to Latvia, Loiak, Torrever in Canada, and then the final round will be in Abu Dhabi in December. So lots of brilliant tracks, of course. Montalegre, Lydden Hill, everyone loves a bit of Lydden Hill, and Norway and Sweden, Helen Huljes, and then Latvia, Loiak. And so it's almost a full European calendar apart from Canada and United Arab Emirates, which will be the final round of the championship in December. So looking forward to this one now, as the drivers will be getting underway. While the guys sort themselves out in the grid order. There's a lot of work to do behind the scenes, and we'll see how the guys are going to... this is obviously the first full run through. They've had pre-season testing. They've done lots of work in the background to get this underway. So if you'll obviously be patient with us while we set this up, and the coordinators work hard. So a team of coordinators working this out, and this all, of course, set up by Damien, who, of course, is the founder and owner of WERC. So we're going to be seeing how the guys get on. Of course, there's a number of WERT esports drivers in here as well. We've got the No Control esport team as well, CRG as well, Rally Fanatics as well, teamed up there with Arsar Serene Logic and Ferga, who are going to be at the wheel of those. But we also have we have a team, plenty of teams going through here. BR Esports, Balroy Esports also coming in here, and we've got, of course, a contingent as well, unusually, from Indonesia. So great to see we've got representation from around the world here. So great to have those guys with us from Indonesia. I believe there's also one driver from the Kingdom of Bahrain. So we're looking forward to seeing how they get on. But we're going to now have a quick little interlude, and we're now going to have a little onboard lap guide of this Catalunya circuit to give you an idea. So we're going to have a full lap around, and then we'll show you the Joker lap as well. So without further ado, have a look at this hot lap of the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya Rallycross track. So that was the lap guide around the Catalunya circuit. That was the Renault Clio RX, which is, of course, going to be run by GCK this year when we get underway for real rallycross on the weekend of the 29th of August. So, of course, we're just filling in that void. So looking forward to obviously seeing some real rallycross action when it gets back underway at Hullias, I believe, is the opening round now. So it's going to be obviously a very shortened season. Of course, I'm going to return to World Rallycross at in Finland as well, and the final round being in Germany at the Nürburgring in December. And I think we all know that Germany in December around the Nürburgring is extremely cold, extremely icy, and extremely snowy. So that's going to be really fun to watch. But before we get to that, of course, we have got the small matter of our own little championship to sort out first. So, of course, Catalunya, the weather for this will be all dry. Of course, the weather conditions are based off the real world weather. That is how the weather is decided for this. And yeah, it's not obviously there will be no wet weather. Unfortunately, that does tend to throw spanners in the works for the finals, etc., etc. But it's going to be an all dry quali at least. Maybe there could be some late changes coming into the semis and the final. So all good with that. So final preparations underway to get ourselves racing, and going to be some great action. We've really missed rallycross in this one. So as I said, for Q1, the qualifying heats will all be run in tandem with each other. So for us in particular, there is 5 lobbies currently on the go, and we're going to be, of course, looking at race number 5, so heat 5, or yeah, heat 5, and what the others are going to be run in separate lobbies at the same time. And of course, the fastest overall time. The drivers are aiming for time, not for track position, which is key in the qualifiers, because of course the grid order is then decided based on that. Now, Right, so apologies for the small issue there. Unfortunately, I disconnected from the lobby, so I couldn't actually see what was going on in that race. But nonetheless, I hope you enjoyed the action of that one. The representatives from Indonesia putting on a show right there. So the results will be worked out in the background for Q1, and then we'll get underway for Q2. So we'll now be inputting results and working out who's going to start where for this next race, Q1, Q2. So obviously, remember, this was all based around overall time. So it's just going to be based on that. So I'm going to just have a quick look just to see the results from the different races. So Q1, race 1, that was won by RSR Serene Logic, time of a 2:46.634. Sing the race number 2, Lembrecht No Control took the victory there, 2:51.6 overall time. And then we had race 3 with Steen No Control taking the victory in that one with a 2:48.1. Then race 4, Johan Lundqvist winning that one on a 2:49.956. So currently, it's looking like RSR Serene Logic is going to take the heat race victory, Q1 at least. So that's the basic one. So the full rundown of results would be in race number 1, Serene Logic, Alex Molnar, Rene No Control, and AZR Louise Mora. The quite close race there. So Q, and then race 3, Lembrecht No Control, followed by Ludwig Rossio, then Stranger, Fusion Dawn, and Vladislav Denev. Then race 4, Johan Lundqvist, Kiko No Control, 9 Red, LSM, and Griffin 06, representative of Malaysia as well. It's good to have all these guys with us. So we're just waiting for the results to be calculated on that one, and then we'll head to race 2, or Q2, should I say, which is key. And we will have a quick look. So apologies for the technical issues. Always happens in the opening round. And of course, we're learning as we go. This is a big undertaking to run a Rallycross league. It is certainly not the easiest thing in the world to do, to try and run 5 lobbies together at once. So while that's working out, we will have a look and see if there's any more results coming in, because there's just gonna check again of the race results. I think we have every race in. We have race 1, race 2, race 3, race 4, and we obviously saw the result of race 5, which was happening in front of your screens, with the fastest time there, 2:53.0, with Nuno Ralha winning that one. So by my calculations, it should be an RSR Serene Logic with the Q1 win, which means he will be on pole for his race, of course. I'll see if I can do some quick maths here. So Serene Logic 2:46. The next fastest time, I believe, was a 2:48. I'll have a quick look. Yes, it was. A Steen No Control should be P2. And so it should be Serene Logic, Steen No Control. The fastest time there, 2:51, 2:52, 2:40. Okay, very fast heat. Race 3. There was just checking the gap there. It looks like there was 0.7 of a second between Steen and Tomahawks across the line, with Pedro Silva close behind. So those guys should all be in the same race together. That's going to be an interesting heat race for sure. So we'll wait and see the gridding for that once we get underway with that. Hope you're all enjoying at home. So results are being inputted as we speak. Grids are being worked out. And I will just make sure. Now, of course, there are points for the heats and the qualifiers. So it's important the guys try and push as hard as they can. But Serene Logic with a very quick time, 2:46. And about 1.5 to 2 seconds quicker than the rest. But still very quick times from everyone. So just looking at the official points right here. So yeah, confirmed Q1 win for RSR Marine Logic. Steen, no control, P2. Pedro Silva in third. Lembrechts in fourth. Tomahawks. Johan Lundqvist, Alex Molnar, Ludwig Rossibo, and Rene and Stranger are your top 10 for that. And then Luis Mora, Fusion John, Duda, Morgan Olsen, and Vladislav Denev currently. So 50 points for the Q1 win. We'll go to Serene Logic, 2.5 quicker than Steen No Control, and Pedro Silva slotting into third place there. So that's a good result for those guys initially. So that's the results as they stand at the moment for Q1. And that will now decide the grid for Q2, which will be underway shortly while the guys sort out the grids for it. Just having a look at the points in front of me. The points are getting calculated live. So fastest time was a 2:46.634, and I would imagine, since the gap was so small between Steen and Pedro and all of those guys, that everyone would be very close together. Now I'm actually just looking. I believe it should be Serene Logic with Steen in P2, then Tomahawks P3, excuse me, and then Pedro Silva, I believe. Well, they worked that out, but that's pretty much how it's going to stand while they update that live. So the guys have got a hard job of doing that. I'm glad I'm not doing that because I'm terrible at maths. Better than somebody else. So obviously turn 1 and turn 2 on lap number 1 is going to be extremely key, because T1 is a 90-degree left-hander. Now, when I say T1, I mean off the start line, turn 1, which is the 90-degree left-hander with the tire bail on the inside and on the outside. So if you get squeezed, that's most likely where you're going to end up. But then the actual turn 1 on the lap is the 90-degree right-hander, and the jump and the Joker merge, of course, always provides some really interesting merges with the speed that the guys carry with the extra couple of 100 meters of a run up towards the back of the circuit is extremely important. So, quick tally of the points again. And we know we're certainly, we're pretty certain on our top 3 at least. Serene Logic, and then Steen, Tomahawks, and Pedro Silva. That should be the top 4 at least. The final times again. And now as well, you've got to remember there is also Tier 2 is also ongoing as well. So there are 2 tiers, WERX 1 and WERX 2 are both happening at the same time. So those times are also being calculated. Now, of course, there are a number of drivers here today which unfortunately couldn't make, which is a shame, because it would be it'd be really interesting to have these guys on the grid as well. Of course, we have the Dirt Rally 2.0 Rally World Champion Una Pankinen. We had Quentin Dall'Olmo, Lucas Bateja, Jonathan Schaefer. Plenty of guys signed up. Couldn't make it today, unfortunately, but would be really nice to have those guys on the grid in the future, because we know how quick those guys are. Now, it looks like, actually, just I'm having a look at the Google Sheets, and it seems that the time automatic calculator is not having a great time of it. So I think they're going to have to manually go through all of those, but it's obviously really important that the guys get this right. So if you'll bear with us while that happens. It is, of course, the opening round. Everything tends to break in the opening round. It's always the way. But it should mean that everything runs smoother when we get to the next round in 2 weeks' time. which will be at Montalegre in Portugal. And really looking forward to seeing how that goes. As a Montalegre, it's even tighter than Barcelona. Seeing Ismusing in there, of course, runner in the World WERX Esports. Just saying, really difficult to overtake this track. Joker strategy will be key. That is very true. It's extremely tight around this. It's almost single file all the way, and you've got to be on the money with your Joker strategy, because the only way that you're going to overtake, ideally, the only opportunity to overtake is at the back of the circuit in that fast left, running up to the on the tarmac, of course, which is running backwards on the F1 circuit. So that's the prime overtaking opportunity as well. You can make overtakes into the Joker if you carry the line. Well, the Joker is going to be extremely key, considering how close all of these guys are going to be to one another in time-wise. So not massive gaps between all of them. So currently Q2 lobbies being set up as we speak, and we'll get underway in just a moment's time for the next race. I'm monitoring about 3-4 tabs at once at this point. I've got a stream open to interact with all of you at home. I've got the live timings on my browser as well. I've also got the game open, naturally. I've got Discord running as well. I've got Steam running. My laptop fan is currently really going overdrive. I think it's about to take off, honestly. Right, I think the timing issues are currently being fixed. So yeah, top 3 fixed. Arsar Serene Logic Q1 winner. Steen No Control P2 1.5 seconds off the back. Then Tomahawks in 3rd place, followed by Pedro Silva, then Johan Lundqvist in 5th place. Alex Molnar, then Lembrecht No Control, Kiko No Control, Ludwig Rossibo representing CRG, and then 9 Red in P10 with 253.0. Then it'll be Rene, of course, team boss of No Control Esports. Good to have him racing alongside everyone here. Then Stranger 06, followed by Luis Mora, Nuno Ralha, Fusion John, and Richthofen are the 16 drivers in W. And of course, we have LSM who slots in. He's in the 2nd tier, but he's managed to slot himself in the middle of all the WERX 1 guys. So LSM, Velvetorian, I Am Duda, Morgan Olsen, Vladislav Denev, and Griffin 06. 22 drivers with us today, and I believe that is the Q1 order sorted. So results: top 3. RSR Serene Logic, Steen, No Control, and Tomahawks are your top 3 for Q1. So they should be in the same race together. So I believe, and now I'm not exactly certain on the format, but I believe the top 5 will all go into the Q2 race together, which is going to be very interesting. Just to give you a bit of context, the top 9 are all in Peugeot 208s, with 9 Red in the Mini slotting into 10th place. So I think it's pretty clear what the guys think or know is the quickest car, the Peugeot 208. With the top 9 in that car, then the Mini, the Audi, another Pug, and the Renault Megane. The sole Renault Megane on the grid is 13th. And as well, the only Clio is sitting in 20th place in this one. So that should be the order sorted. But now comes the small task of sorting the lobbies out. So while we wait for that, I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. Who do you think is going to win the final outright? Because there's a lot of talent on this grid, and I wonder who's going to come out on top in this one. And continue on in just a moment, but just to see the spread of the field, currently it's about top 10 separated by 6.3 seconds currently. 6.3 seconds over a 4-lap race. So I would obviously imagine that battling would have played a role in that. But looks like probably Griffin Zero didn't have a good time of it, 18.2 seconds slower than the fastest time. So I'd imagine there was obviously an incident somewhere in there. But yeah, we've got quite a spread of people from all around the world competing in this. You're having a quick look at the track map once again, and you can see the action zone. Well, the one marked in pink, I like to call the action zone. Turn 5 with the Joker merge running. The guys have about 100 to 200 meters extra run down through turn 6 and into turn 7. And between turn 6 and 7 is the fastest part of the circuit. You're up in 6th gear and trying to get it on the brakes for the long left-hander. Trickier than it looks because you've got a lot of tire bales on that part of the circuit as well on the inside. So it proves tricky. So let's try to sort out the issues with the Google Sheets. I think they should be mostly fixed for now. But just the point system, so 50 points for the win in the qualifier, then goes down 45, 42, 40, and then all the way down in ones after that. So 5 points is 5 points difference between first and second, 3 points between second and third, 2 points between fourth and fifth, and then 1 point difference all the way down. So 40, 39, 38, 37, 36, 35, 34, and so on. So even what's key about World Rallycross is a DNF, of course, is 0 points. But even if you have a terrible round and you have a puncture, it still will be worth your while to get the car across the line. Because you will score points. You'll get a minimum score for that qualifier. Of course, still plenty to come. So, of course, the heats are worth the most points. They then, of course, at the end, all those points are totted up, and then whoever's in first receives 16 points for the qualifying wins. Getting top qualifier spot is 16 points. And that goes down in one. So 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Semi-final points, you get 6 points for a semi-final win. And of course, the top 3 from the semi-final progress to the final. So you still score points if you finish 4th, 5th, and 6th in the semi-final, but you will not progress to the final. And the final, the win is worth 8 points. It goes 8, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So there's an extra 3 points up for grabs for the win. But currently the qualifiers are worth the most points. Whoever has the most qualifying points receives at the end 16 points. Still waiting for the lobbies to be set up. And I think they're just double checking that the times are correct. Which by the looks of it, they mostly are. They look to be correct. And they're just making sure that everything's in order for the lobbies, because there have been WERX 2 drivers that have slotted inside the top 20. So of course they've got to be separated into their own division. So that's also causing some issues. But I've just seen as well the gap between 9 Red in P10 and Nuno Ralha in P11 was 0.008 of a second between those guys. So very close from sort of P8 down to P14. There's about a second and a bit separating all of those guys. Bigger spread up the front, but the guys down the back are very, very close. There was a 1/10 of a second, actually, just looking here, 1/10 of a second between 3 drivers, which is very, very close. we had a total of 45 drivers sign up for this one. We have about 22 racing today, roughly speaking. So obviously, some others have some genuine reasons. So should be underway in just a few moments. Apologies, I am running out of stuff to talk about though. I'd love to see, actually, just to have a quick check. I'm pretty sure I have been talking nonsense for the best part of 20 odd minutes. So I'm pretty sure you're probably sick of me at this stage. I'm sick of me. But there are some problems with the timing sheets. So what's going on is usually the guys have a system worked out where a Google Sheet will automatically update the times and put them in order of fastest to slowest. What it's done is it's completely not done what it's supposed to. So the guys are having to go back through it with a fine-tooth comb to make sure it's working. So that's what's happening in the background while I spout on for a while. Righto. Don't blame the messenger, exactly. I'm just the guy who shouts at what's happening, but currently I don't have anything to shout about. So I'll just sit here and interact with you guys because there's something good to do. There are 34 of you still sat here, so thank you all for sitting around to enjoy the pleasure of my company. But should be only a few minutes now until we get underway. So just checking. Domino's seem to have a good deal on pizza at the moment. Seems to be $9.99 meal deal going on there. Medium pizza, large wedges. Pretty good. I really have run out of things to talk to if I'm talking about Domino's. My God. Right. So I'm pretty sure that the points are correct now. They seem to have all been inputted. I don't think there's anything missing. Currently, we're just sat around waiting for the lobbies to be fired up. So, of course, motorsport coming back in a few. Well, motorsport's pretty much back now. F1 is back. GT racing is back. World WERX back next month. Interested to see how World WERX is going to go because there's a lot of hype around it. With of course Backroad and RX Cartel switching to Renault, to GCK Megans, GCK switching to the Clio. Of course, the Hanson's coming back. Christopherson is back in a Polo. That's always really, really, really good as well. We have, of course, Gronholm back in the I-20, which I believe I've heard is actually as well coming to dirt as well in a not too distant future, which would be nice to see how the I-20 is gonna fare up against the likes of the Peugeot, because the Peugeot has been proven to be the fastest overall car on this game. The Mini has come a close second. The Mini is a very quick car, but it does tend to falter in terms of the gearing. If you've ever tried the Mini, I'm sure you'll know trying to get off the line and that thing is not the easiest thing in the world. It tends to have too much torque, so it sits in second gear, you release the handbrake, and it just kind of doesn't move. The engine revs, no wheel spin, but it just doesn't move. So the Mini's there. So the Peugeot has a big advantage in gearing as well, but it's a very, very quick car. A lot of the guys obviously have opted for that. The Mini, the Audi as well, a very all-round car, a very easy car to drive. So it's a good choice for a lot of drivers. The Renault Megane as well. It was the quickest car, if you remember, in the 2018 spec cars, but has now not really been up to pace with the 2019 supercars, which are the cars we're running, of course. But the Renault Megane kind of fell back away in pace. The Renault Clio actually became the quicker of those two. The Megane was the quicker, and then the Clio came in and is a very nice car to drive as well. It just doesn't quite have the top end speed of the other cars. So I started not sure at this point what is happening in the background, because I've not heard anything, but we're still currently waiting on news for what's happening. So I think the points have now officially been finished. They have been sent to the drivers, and the results are now available to them. Just to make sure I am looking at the same spreadsheet. Yes, I am. So the points are ready, and that should mean we should be ready to go in a few minutes. I know I said that 20 minutes ago, but what can I say? So we're getting underway now in a moment. Okay, and that familiar sound is the sound of an invite being sent to me, which is always a good sign. So finally, we've got something to look at. So we're now going to be looking at the race between a couple of guys here. So looking at the results, we're looking at the race between Mano, 9 red, so I think that's P10. Just having a quick look on the results. That should be P10 with Richthofen and the others. Right, at last, we've got a race to look at. Q2 is about to get underway here then, as we load in to the session. So finally, we've got something to look at. All clear weather. So the guys are racing for time. So 9 red, Richthofen and Mano in this lobby, in this race. So 2 minis and an Audi, no sign of the pugs, and just a 3-car heat for this one. So we'll check who's on the pole.
Use the joker lap to your advantage. You only need to take it once.
Here we go.
If you miss it, you'll get a time penalty.
It's Q2, WERX, and at last we've got a race on our hands. So we'll check who's on the pole position. It looks like it's going to be 9 red on the pole on the inside line, with the other mini in the middle of Richthofen. We're looking, well, I'm looking at least at the Audi on the outside. Here we go. Let's get ready to rumble. in Q2. Ready to race light on. Handbrakes on. Here we go for Q2. Green light and we're away. Good start from the two minis on the inside. Raked off and shut the door. Cross on 9 red on the inside line. They run the tight line. Mano around the outside. Nice move. And he's slots into second place. Raked off and away out in front. With a little bit late on the brakes from Mano there as 9 red goes back up his inside in turn number 2. Then over for the jump we go. Then Raked off and leaves 9 red in second. Let's see if anybody opts for the Joker this time. A little bit wide from 9 red. 9 red goes to the Joker. Mano follows him in. So these guys are going to try and bear down on the driver out in front. Raked off the Indonesian, who's representing the first influx of Indonesian we've had in the league. 9 red representing the UK and Mano representing Portugal. Through the left-hander, turn number 6. The Audi goes through. So good stuff from these guys. Let's have and keep an eye on our man out front, Raked off him, because I think he's going to have to respond to the guys behind. See the gap, 3.2 seconds, going to be marginal at the Joker merge. Q3 2 a little bit messy for Raked off, and there's a run over the jump then. Let's see if he's going to dive to the Joker. I think he's going to need to. 2.9 seconds, he goes into the Joker. Watch for the merge then between Raked off and the 9 red. Around the inside, watch for 9. Doesn't get the job, he comes out from but back up the inside. Raked off and goes through on the inside, but he can't quite get there. Both end up in the wall. Spinning 9 red with puncture on the rear. And Mano now up the inside through turn 6. He gets the job done on Raked off and on the merge. Raked off and try on the inside, but there's just no space to work with. Mano runs a bit wide into the tyre barrier there. Raked off and has to get back on the power there. But 9 red now has a puncture on the rear right. And that is going to be detrimental to him. And I think Raked off and also seems to be some a puncture as well on the front right of his car. So Mano now has got clear air to work with, and that is how quickly it can go wrong. That is how tricky that merge from the Joker is, and that's how quickly it can go wrong. It went wrong very quickly for those guys trying to get the jump on each other. Yeah, front right puncture for Raked off and then a rear right puncture for 9 red. So tried it on the inside, it didn't work, and they both paid the price now. So that was, I think, you've got to be thinking it was a little bit too much too soon. These guys are meant to be racing for time. Now, out to our man out front, Mano comes out in the lead. You see him watching him coming over the jump now. Nice and neat and tidy, aiming for time. But of course, judging off those incidents, I don't think this is going to be exactly the quickest heat out of any of these guys. Going through turn 5 now, where everything went wrong for the rest of them. Turn 6. Remember the fastest time of the last day was a 2:46. 2:46 already passed. So we'll see what this is going to be. Probably one of the slower heats. 2:52. Time ticks away from Mano coming through the last corner. He's going to win his heat nonetheless. 2:56. And now Raked off, and he's got to nurse that car back to the finish with the front right puncture. And on a track that's mostly anti-clockwise, that is the worst possible look for him. It's down there at the last corner. He should get across the line. I don't know if 9 red's going to get across the line, but he's got a rear right and he's not going to make it, so he's going to be a DNF for this one. And there we go, confirmation. 2:56.088. Mano is your winner of that race. Now let's have a quick gander at the times from the other ones, if we have them, if they've finished. So results, race number 3, it was Velvetorian on a 2:52.0, so he's currently the quickest at the moment. Indonesian taking the win there. Ludwig Rossabel about half a second behind him in that race. So they're currently 1 and 2. We're just waiting on the results for the other ones. I believe there was a lobby restart on the other one. So confirmation there. Mano winning in the Audi. Raked off and the 9 red come to blows. And I wonder, is that going to go to the stewards? Because it was very, very, very marginal between them. High speed merge. Raked off and tried to go on the inside. 9 red tried to block it off. And they both ended up in the wall. So Q2 results are now going to be worked out, and we'll then have Q3 So apparently green light bug in that other race. Steen wins his one with a great time, 2:47.4, with Tomahawks in P2 and Serene Logic 2:49.272. So they're currently the top three, 2:49. And then the other guys 2:54.6 and 2:56.312. So what about Jogan's race? Kiko 2:48.17. He's going to slot into P3. So that's a good time. Johan Lundqvist 2:49.6. Rene 2:56.1. This is a very large spread there. Fusion John 2:58. And Duda 3:05.974. So now they've got even more results to work out. And times are currently being inputted as we speak. So Steen looks like he's going to win Q2. So No Control Esports taking the win. So second place and a win. A second place for Q1 and a win in Q2 for Steen. Now, of course, bear in mind there was a green light bug as well. So Tomahawks 0.4 of a second behind them, 2:47.9. Then Serene Logic 2:49.7. Velvetorian in currently P4 while they wait for the results of the other ones. Ludwig Grossibo, Nuno Ralha, Mano, Stranger, Griffin 06, Ladislav Denev, Morgan Olsen and Reichtofen. A few more results still to come. Race 2, Pedro Silva 2:48.7. This is a really close one. And I think that should put Pedro Silva into third place by the looks of it. 2:48. 2:48.7 actually. Kiko 2:48.1 and 2:48.1. Yeah, so I think it should be Kiko in P3. We'll wait. Yeah, P3 for Kiko. That's very close. 0.6 of a second between the top three. Two No Control Esports drivers in the top three. So Steen wins that one. Tomahawks in P2 and then Kiko in third. Johan Lundqvist in fourth place beats out Serene Logic by a margin of 0.1 of a second. Really close right there. And then Velvetorian, Rossiville, Ralha, Mano, Rene, Stranger, Griffin, Denev, Olsen, and Richthofen. As well, those guys had punctures as well. So there's a couple of others there that's still yet to be inputted. We need to wait for Alex Molnar to be put in there. Lembrecht, LSM, and Luis Mora, they need to be inputted as well. So I think we're waiting to see. So Pedro Silva fourth. He slots in ahead of Ludwig Rossibo. No, not Ludwig Rossibo. Johan Lundqvist. So P6 then for Serene Logic and Alex Molnar. Not a bad time at all. 2:50.3 slots in behind Serene Logic. Lembrechts in the other No Control car. He is 10th. Nuno Ralha behind him. So results working a lot better this time around. So it shouldn't be too long before we have our next couple of races. So I think official results of Q2. Just waiting now, make sure they've been released to the drivers. Right, so official results. Steen, No Control, winner of Q2 by 0.4 of a second ahead of Tomahawks in P2. Kiko, No Control as well, P3, 0.6 behind P1. Then it's Pedro Silva of WERT Esports in fourth. Then Johan Lundqvist in the Alta Delar Sweden racing car as well, 2:49.6 for him. Just ahead of Arthur Serene Logic, the winner of Q1. Alex Molnar, the Hungarian, he's P7. Velvetorian, the Indonesian. In 8th place, Ludwig Rossibo for Comrade Gaming in 9, and then in 9th place, then Lembrecht's No Control in the No Control 2 team. So they're currently 1st and 10th in Q2. They're P10. Nuno Ralha in 11th, LSM in P12, Luis Mora in 13th, Mano in 14th, Rene 15th, Stranger 06 in 16th, Fusion John 17th, Griffin 06 in 18th place, then Vladislav Denev, Morgan Olsen, I Am Duda, and Richthofen last after the puncture. And of course, 9 red, a DNF in that one. I gotta remember that one as well. So now the grid order is going to be worked out for Q3, which will be coming very soon. So it should be interesting. I believe now that overall after Q2, I believe it's Steen No Control leading the overall qualifying standings. And Tomahawk should be behind him, actually. So a good haul of points for those guys. But there's still 2 more quali heats to come. And then the semis. And the final. So not long to go now until we head to Q3. While they make sure the times are inputted correctly, which they seem to have done this time around. So full 50 points for Steen, but still did not beat the fastest time of the weekend so far, which is a 246.6 for Serene Logic in Q1. So this heat was a slower one, but not by much. 247.4. 247.4 was the fastest time in this one. So now we wait for the drivers to arrive into our lobby. We're already set up and ready to go. But now we just have to wait for the grids to be set. Which is a vital part of this. A good finishing position in the qualifiers means a good grid slot, which is what the drivers want. They want that pole position on the inside line. And once we have the semi-finals as well and the final, you want that little edge. Of course, in the qualifying heats, they go in a 5 across formation, but once you get to the semi-finals, you then have the staggered grids. So 1 and 2 on the front, 3 and 4, 5 and 6 on the back row. And the way they set this as well, we'll talk you through how they set that right. We have got a really fast heat coming up now for Q3. Pedro Silva, Tomahawks, Kiko and Steen and Johan Lundqvist in this one. This is going to be really, really, really interesting to watch. Cannot wait to see this. So it should be Steen on the pole, Tomahawks P2, Kiko, Pedro Silva and Lundqvist on the outside line. Of course, you remember Johan Lundqvist, participant in the WERX Esports as well. So fantastic to have him on the grid. Pedro Silva, of course, representing WERT Esports, and then the 2 no control drivers of Steen and Kiko and Tomahawks. Right, ready to go. It's going to be an all Peugeot lobby. Right. Settle in for this one. Put your seatbelts on because this is going to be really, really fast, intense. It's going to be later in the evening. We'll leave 6 p.m. in the evening, so we're going to have the beautiful sunset. But because there's a row of 5 pugs, it's going to be hard to tell who's who, but it should be Steen on the pole, Tomahawks, Kiko, Silva, and Lundqvist ready to go. So it's all about that start, see who's got it geared correctly. Ready to go then for Q3. So the winner, this is the fastest 5 from Q2 lining up on the grid, all in their various World Series liveries. But Steen on the inside and Kiko right in the middle. This is going to be fantastic. Watch for Lundqvist on the outside, watching to send one around the outside, but Steen, he needs to start on the inside line, ready to race light on. Green light, good start from Pedro Silva from 4th place, coming towards turn number 1, turning in. They all try to get some space on the inside line, and looks like it's a good start trying to avoid the tyre barrier. Pedro Silva together with Tomahawks, they almost make contact coming through. That's Kiko actually falling down the order, back down to P5. Steen leads, Tomahawk second, Johan Lundqvist from the outside line, slots through the 3rd place, side by side over the jump. Lundqvist trying on the inside line versus Tomahawks as they run through. Does anybody Joker? Looks like a couple of drivers take to the Joker there. Looks like I believe Silva and Lundqvist went, and the try out in front of Kiko's had a spin round the outside. Silva trying to get in front after that, even after the Joker. Silva round the outside, trying to get on the inside line for the next part of the corner, side by side, banging doors. Silva has to give it up with Johan Lundqvist in prime position after the Joker. Steen now under pressure from Tomahawks out the front as they come through now. Lundqvist pushing, he's already within the Joker. The Joker territory, 2.7 seconds. That should be able to see him come out in front of Steen at this point in time over the jump. As they come through, do they Joker? Tomahawks or Steen? Do the Joker? No, they don't. Tomahawks takes the Joker now. He's trying to get out in front of Kiko. Kiko has not Jokered. But here comes Lundqvist. Lundqvist is ahead by quite some margin there. And he does slide into 3rd place. Tomahawk carrying the extra speed, though. He's going to have a little look on the inside, but they can't afford to fight too much now. But a good decision to Joker from Johan Lundqvist earlier on. But now, what's the gap up to Steen? They now try to fight Tomahawks into the back end. Lundqvist there as they come down to the last corner. Where do they go from here? Steen, no control, out in front, 2.76 seconds the gap. Kiko still in front, but has not Jokered. Silva in P5. Here we go then. Watch for Steen. I'm sure he's going to Joker now on this lap as they peel through. It's going to be very tight. Yes, Steen to the Joker. Where does he come out? It's going to be very close. He's going to carry the speed on the outside line. Lundqvist blocks him, but he finds the space on the inside. He hits the tyre barrier. And Steen falls down to 2nd place. Tomahawks has to fall back to 3rd place. He tried on the inside, but Johan Lundqvist has done enough to slot himself into the lead. Very close on the merge, and that's how quick this heat is, with Johan Lundqvist out in front, Steen in 2nd place, and Tomahawks into 3rd. Now they're pushing for time, but Johan looks like he's setting some really good times. A fast lap of a 39.2. There's a really good push from him there. Over the jump we go. And still waiting for Kiko to take his Joker. He had a pretty poor lap earlier on, but he's going to have the Joker on this lap. When he does, he's going to fall back to 5th place. But what's the time going to be? They're chasing time, don't forget. Lundqvist very neat and tidy on the left-hander into the chicane. Pushing hard. What's the time going to be for Johan Lundqvist coming to the last corner? He's aiming for a 47. He comes across the line as a 2:47.2, I think that was, from Johan Lundqvist. A really, really good time. Steen's no control in 2nd. Tomahawks in P3. Pedro Silva in 4th. And Kiko in 5th place, 2:53.3. Really, really intense heat, that one. But Lundqvist with the early Joker. Really nice strategy from him, and he comes out with the win in the heat. But now we're going to wait and see what the times were in the other ones, which is a key one. So, really intense action in that one, and the Joker merge was really tight. Steen tried on the inside, but it doesn't seem to work. The gap is always going to close there. So I believe there's some stewards inquiries going on in some other ones as well. But yeah, there is the official one, 2:47.20 for Johan Lundqvist. Steen, no control. Tomahawks, Pedro Silva and Kiko from Q3 race 1. That's fantastic. I can't wait for the semis now, if these guys are going to be that quick and that close together. Joker strategy as well playing its part. And always a massive part of this. So we're waiting now for the rest of the results to come in. Q3 race 2. Oh, I tell you what, Serene Logic has smashed it out of the park. 2:45.892, 893 for Serene Logic. Very quick time, fastest time of the weekend so far, fastest time of the day. Smashed it, 2:45.8. So he takes now the provisional lead. Lembrex behind him, then Ludwig Rossibo, Alex Molnar, and Velvetorian. But he should be in P1 for Q3. We're just waiting for the rest of the times. But it seems he didn't have too much of a challenge. And the guys behind seem to be finished about 8 seconds ahead of Lembrex No Control in that heat. But obviously a clean run for him. The guys in Q3 race 1 were fighting hard. 2:47.2 is still a really good time, but fastest time of the day, 2:45.893 for Serene Logic. So he'll be on the pole for Q4, which will be the final qualifying heat before we get to the semi-finals. Now remember, you have to be within a certain, as well, only a select few get through to the semis as well. I believe it's the top 12 get through to the semis. So P12 is the cutoff. So it's whoever's where at the end of it. So now we're waiting for the rest of the races to come in. I don't think they're quite finished yet by the looks of it. I only have currently results from race 1 and race 2. Waiting for a couple of other ones now. But provisionally, it is Serene Logic. So Serene Logic followed by Lundqvist, Steen, Tomahawks, Pedro Silva, and then Pedro Silva 2:51.4, and then it'll be Lembrex, Rossibo, I believe. No, won't be Rossibo. It'll be Kiko, Rossibo, Molnar, and Velvetorian. That's currently the order of Q3, results of Q3. Just waiting for the rest of the results. No sign of them just yet. Obviously, I would imagine there was probably a restart or something going on there. We haven't received results from race 3, race 4, and race 5. It appears we have, actually. No, we haven't. We're still waiting for the rest of them. So a slight delay in the results here because we haven't actually received them from the other lobbies. I'd imagine something happened there, but we're heading into the final qualifying heat. And then the semi-finals and the final. So it shouldn't be too long now. Not sure what the hold-up is in the other lobbies, but I believe, actually, I could be wrong, because we could have another heat race to run here. Another heat race to shout over. I think we could have. Not too certain on that. We could actually be looking at another race in Q3. So I'm waiting to see if we're going to have that. That probably is why the results aren't there, because they haven't been run yet, because they're waiting for the go-ahead, which should be in a few moments. So I believe Fusion John, Griffin Zero, and Stranger are going to run in a race together. And LSM, Mano, Nuno, Ralhan, Rennie Sutons are going to be in the other lobby that's waiting to go. Vladislav Denev also adding into that one. So I told you that turn 5 and 6 were action zones, and they've certainly proven my point with the two big offs we had in that section. The contact between Johan Lundqvist and Steen, and the earlier one between 9 Red and Richthofen in P6. Now the one between 9 Red and Richthofen was a lot more severe, with the two of them of course being suffering from punctures as a result. But Steen seemed to get away with murder there, with getting contact with the tire barrier. So I believe now that the other lobbies are underway. I don't think we're seeing it, but they seem to be underway. So I believe we're just going to be waiting here for the results to arrive from that one. I don't think we're going to get to see it, unfortunately. We can hang around to Q4, which will be underway in a few moments. So I believe they're getting the lobby set up now, because I've just seen a load of drivers get kicked out of our lobby that we have set up here. So I think we're going to get a second Q3 race to have a look at. Not sure which one it's going to be, but we'll have a quick check of that. See if they can best the time of 2:45.8. Yes, we are. We're going to have Q3 race number. I just have a quick check, actually, as I nearly knocked my mic over. It should be Q3 race 4 or 5. I'm not sure. So this is going to be Q3 race 3 or 4. But for this one, we have Stranger, Fusion John, Griffin 06, and Vladislav Denev for this one. So 4 cars in this one. And yes, we are going to get underway for this one. So another Q3 race to have a look at. I wonder if these guys can spring a surprise in this heat. So that was, this is going to be still Q3. Just to keep you updated, this is still Q3, but we're just having a look at a couple more heats of it. So 4 cars in this one. Griffin 06, Vladislav Denev, Stranger, and Fusion John. Griffin representing Malaysia. So quite a ways across the world here. Vladislav Denev of Bulgaria, Stranger of Indonesia, and Fusion John of Great Britain.
Use the joker lap to your advantage.
So you have 4 different cars in this one as well. So let's have a look and see what's going to happen in this one. So Renault Megane on the inside, Mini in second, Audi in third, and Peugeot in fourth. So here we go for Q3, race 3. Stranger on the inside in the Megane, Griffin in the middle in the Audi. We look at Vladislav Denev in P2, ready to race light on. And, well, that was strange. Away we go with Stranger tried to close door on the inside. Vladislav Denev with the Fusion John, excuse me, in the Mini on the outside line that runs towards Q2. Q2 turn 2, it looks like. So here we go, running up over the jump then. And it seems to be, if I'm going to have to scream at Damien, turn the race on, the holding screen is on. I'll give you radio commentary for now as they come through. Stranger leads, got the Audi in second place, Fusion John third, Vladislav Denev with a problem over the jump. And coming down this side, Fusion John, I can hear a puncture on that Mini. And just having a quick check, yeah, front left puncture for Fusion John after contact. But Stranger leads, Griffin 0 in P2. And a Stranger clear out front in the Renault Megane. So, for those of you who can't see, the stream is not seeing this at the moment, but I can tell you, not much action in this one, so not missing too much. Vladislav Denev, the only one to have Fusion John with a puncture now. Vladislav Denev is going to pass him. Up the jump we go. Denev trying to get through. Fusion John pulls off the road to let him through. And Griffin 06 has jokered in P2. Stranger about 8 seconds out clear out front. So unless barring any major issues, he's going to take the win in this one. So holding screen is still on by the looks of it. So apologies for that. But this race not too action-packed. So the times are not up there with the guys as well. Stranger dives to the Joker. He's 8 seconds out in front. He's not going to have any problems. He rejoins. And these guys are about a second a lap off of the fastest guys at the moment. So down towards the line to start the final lap then. Stranger check his lap, of course he did Joker on that lap. It doesn't look like they're going to match the fastest time, 2:45.8. So there we go. While we wait for that, I'm going to wait for Stranger to cross the line. And I think we now have pictures, so you'll see now the tail end of this race. And Stranger coming through the turn 6 now, so you're now seeing the race. The last 2:45 was past. This is not going to be up there at all. So it's going to be, I think, a 2:56 for Stranger across the line, 2:56.9. And the rest of the guys waiting across the line. Griffin 0 coming down towards the last corner. And that's going to be 3:08. And this guy's going to be longer behind Vladislav Denev, 3:12. And Fusion John, he should get to the line. He is suffering with a puncture front left, so he's going to come across the line. 3:18. 3:13.2 for him. 2:51.3, the fastest on that. I don't know. 2:51.3. Of course, we had the weird delay at the start, so it's actually a 2:51.340 for Stranger. So that's going to slot him in. That's going to slot him in somewhere relatively high up, so that was a quicker one than that. I'm not sure what happened at the start line, but we had a weird glitch at the start where the guys didn't actually move off the line for about 5 seconds. So now we can have the points. So currently, Serene Logic fastest in Q3 to 45.893. Johan Lundqvist P2 247.20. Steen No Control 248.5. Tomahawks F 249.1. Ben Stranger, who we just saw, 251.340. In front of Pedro Silva, 251.47. Then Lembrex, Nuno Ralha, Kiko, and Ludwig Rossibo are your top 10. Then Alex Molnar, Velvatorian, Griffin 0, Vladislav Denev, and Fusion John 313.2. We're waiting for a few others to slot in as well as the race results come in. It looks like poor old Rennie Sutons has had a equipment failure in his one. Looks like he's had no break. 303.370. Looks like he's having a good time, but Nuno Ralha 252.390. He wins his heat, and 9 Red winning his one 252.840. So that's Q3, and it's another win for Serene Logic, 245.8. He wins Q3. So winner of Q1, and Steen winning Q2, of course, and not a good one for him. P6 for him in Q2, but back up on top again on a 245.8, and says the fastest time of the day so far. So now the grids will be decided for Q4, and of course, the top 5 from Q4 are going to be in a race of their own. So it'll be Serene Logic, Johan Lundqvist, Steen, Tomahawks, and Stranger in that top 5. So actually, well done to Stranger as well. He's managed to get a Renault Megane into the top 5. Well done to him. Managed that very nicely. Pedro Silva just behind him there. So we'll be seeing 2 races of Q4 as well, like we just did there, and then to the semis and the all-important final. So I believe there could be some penalties on the way. Fusion John protesting the incident that gave him the puncture on lap 1. So now we have to wait for the Q4 grid to be set. We have our official results, but now the lobbies and everything need to be set up in the background. We've nearly been on for an hour and a half now, and we haven't quite reached the final qualifier. Seems as well. While we wait for this, and there's been somebody seems to have been left out of one of the races. Yeah, it looks like I don't think we've seen Luis Mora out on track by the looks of it. I'm not seeing him on the timing sheets. I don't think he raced in this one. So we've had race 1, race 2, race 3. So results should be nearly ready now. We're pretty secure in the fact that Serene Logic has won this heat, has won this Q3 event. And now we wait for Q4 to get underway. Top 5, of course, are going to have their own race. So on the poll for Q4 will be Serene Logic, then Johan Lundqvist, Steen No Control, Tomahawks, and Stranger will start on the outside. Then it'll be Pedro Silva, Lembrex, Nuno Ralha, 9 Red, and Kiko. And then we'll probably see the race between Alex Molnar, I Am Duda, Luis Mora, and LSM, and Morgan Olsen as well. So I've just seen Luis Mora popped into 14th on the timing sheets. So I believe, I'm just going to have a quick check. Luis Mora, 255.7. I believe he was, because he was left out of the race, I believe he was given the time from Q2 as his time for Q3. So I believe that's what they've decided to do. So he still scores a decent haul of points as a result. So I'm going to take a quick breather for about 2 minutes, and I'll be back for Q4. Right, I've had a quick breather. So we're now going to head to Q4. The lobby is almost ready. So looking forward to this particular lobby because I got the really quick guys in here. And remember, this is a key one because it's the top 12 go through to the semis. So the results at the end of this will determine who starts where in the semis. Top 3, of course, go through from the semis to the final. So your top 5 from Q3 were Serene Logic, Johan Lundqvist, Steen, Tomahawks, Stranger, and then outside the top 5, Pedro Silva, Lembrex, Nuno Ralha, 9 Red, and Kiko, No Control. Ludwig Rossibo just starting in outside of the top 10. So I'm just having a look now. So yeah, it looks like Rennie Soutens is unfortunately not going to take any further part in this event. Just heard from him that the spring in his brake pedal has broken, so he has not got a functioning brake pedal. So unfortunate for him. So Rennie Soutens unfortunately retiring from this event after the damage to his pedals. It seems everyone's equipment is breaking. His mine broke as well not too long ago. So the lobby setup, I'm just having a quick look while we wait. It's going to be Serene Logic, Steen, Stranger, Tomahawks, Jogan. Lobby 2, Kiko, Lembrex, Rossibo, 9 Red, and Pedro Silva. So they're going to be run in tandem, while the rest of the drivers wait in the service area to start. So the drivers are vacating the lobby from the previous one, so we will be receiving our drivers in a few moments' time for what's going to be a really fast heat. And we can probably say that this next heat is most likely going to be our semi-finalists. I think these guys are already guaranteed a spot in the semi, but they're trying to get as many points in the championship as possible. So the drivers from the previous race have vacated the lobby. We're now waiting the arrival of our top 5 from Q3, and we'll then get underway for Q4 race 1 in this opening round of the WERC Rallycross Championship, back again in 2 weeks, of course, from Montalegre. And a full championship awaits the guys. So we have got Serena, we have got Johan Lundqvist, we've got Steen No Control, and we have got Stranger. So I just see them sorting out the grid right there. Hopefully you guys should be able to see this race as well. So I think we're just awaiting the arrival of Tomahawks, the only driver not to have joined yet. He'll be starting from, just check my points. He'll be starting from P4 on the Q4 grid. Of course, you remember, Serene Logic and Johan Lundqvist both competed together in the WERX Esports. So those guys are familiar with each other. Starting next to each other on the grid as well. P1 and 2, going to be an interesting fight between those guys. So it's just still waiting on Tomahawks, and I'm not sure. Yeah, I did think that was going to be a problem. I believe he was already kicked from the lobby earlier, which means he cannot get back into this one. So we're going to need to make a new lobby again, which should take about 2 minutes max. So we're now waiting for fresh invites. And that came very quickly. I just heard the familiar sound of Steam invite in my headphones. So that's gone perfectly. And everyone back in very quickly. So let's make sure we spectate. And we're going to spectate Serene Logic on the pole for this one. Now we wait. We're still waiting for Tomahawks to join. And he has now appeared at last. So that was the initial problems. Tomahawks back in. And he'll be starting in P4. So now I think we are ready to go. Serene Logic, Johan Lundqvist, Steen, No Control, Tomahawks, and Stranger are in the lobby ready to go for Q4 race 1. Yep, here we go. Lobby's about to start, and I think Stranger is definitely going to feel like a stranger because he's the only guy not in a Peugeot in this one, and he's in a Renault Megane. So I think we're going to need some prayers for Stranger in the Renault Megane. Starting on the outside line in a really fast heat. So Serene Logic on the pole. Johan Lundqvist next to him. Steen will be in the middle. Tomahawks in 4th and Stranger on the outside line. So race 1 and 2 and 3 we think will be happening in the background. Possibly just 1 and 2, and then 3, 4, and 5 will also happen in tandem after this one. We'll slot into another race. But here we go. Q4 race 1. to decide the grid slots for the semis. Serene Logic on the inside line on the pole position in the black Peugeot. Next to him, Johan Lundqvist. Steen in the middle of the grid. This is going to be a really interesting heat. Here we go then. Ready to race, light on. Q4 race 1. Green line where it looks like a green light both for Serene Logic and for the car on the outside. Steen around the outside of turn number 1, side by side with Serene Logic towards turn number 2. Then side by side, he looks on the inside. Serene has to flick the car sideways on the inside, spins around a little bit, and Stranger ends up in the wall. Steen leads. Johan Lundqvist up now. Serene's inside is going to end up in the barrier if he's not careful, and that's been a terrible start for the Dutchman. As Steen leads, Johan Lundqvist in second. Serene Logic going to dive to the Joker. Smart strategy there, so chaos in turn number 1 then as a green light bug strikes, and I think Serene's going to end up stuck behind Tomahawks now after all of that. So Tomahawks in P3, but Steen leads. Johan Lundqvist second, Tomahawks in third. Arthur Serene Logic is now the first guy to have Joker, and he's now trying his best to get past the Swede here. Looks like he's got the pace over. He needs to get a move on because he has to get past him. The gap is not there for him. Serene trying to find a way through. Tomahawk's tight to the inside line and has to sit behind for now. Up ahead, what do we see? The top 2 have not jokered, so, and Tomahawks doesn't joke as well. This is just hurting Nigel even more now as he's stuck behind Tomahawks. He's going to have to try something. Stuck behind that 4.2 is the gap, so the guys up front have a gap already to get through, to get past. So 3 tenths of a second between the top 2 as well. Lundqvist looking like the quicker of the 2. We'll see now. Going to just flick to Johan Lundqvist and see, is he going to joker on this lap? He's kind of stuck behind Steen here. Which one of them is going to joker? Does any of them joker? To keep tight to the inside, Lundqvist into the joker, and he should be able to get out in front of Tomahawks here. He'll be well out in front of Serene Logic as well. And a great lap, 38.9 for Lundqvist, which is a really fast time to pull out in Catalunya. Tomahawks also jokers as well. So Lundqvist now in second place. He's in the box seat for a really good result here. Serene Logic caught in the traffic, and that turn 1 incident is now a couple of seconds behind Lundqvist. 2.2 the gap to Steen. I reckon Lundqvist is going to have enough to do this. Bogged down a little bit in turn 2, a little bit of a mistake from Lundqvist there as he comes over the jump. Lost 2 tenths of a second to Steen there. Watch as Steen rejoins on the merge. It's going to be very close. I think Steen might have it, but on the outside line he's going to have the run as they come through turn 5. Next and side by side, Steen to the outside line, neck and neck, and Steen has the job done. But now Lundqvist on the inside line with the run, and they're going to make a little bit of contact side by side here. Lundqvist gets put in the barrier a little bit. They're side by side. Oh, Lundqvist gets spun in front of Serene Logic, and Steen has now come out on top in this one. He's going to cross the line to win 2:47. Serene Logic gets given second place, and Lundqvist unfortunately gets bumped down to third place. Tomahawk P4 and Stranger in P5. Chaos 2:48.0 is the time for Steen, but Johan Lundqvist, unfortunately, contact between himself and Steen, and that's ended poorly for Lundqvist. It was very close on the merge, and Steen did get the job done around the outside, but it was definitely a car on his outside coming through the chicane. But that's it, and we've seen actually on my results screen, I'm seeing that Niklas Gronholm actually won that heat. So congratulations to Niklas Gronholm. So you can see there, Niklas Gronholm took the win in that one. I think Matthias Ekström was 4th. Anton Markland in behind Serene Logic. But bit of chaos. But of course, we've got the next race to come now as well. We've got the other races that we've got to look at. So let's see what the results are from the other race. So that was actually the slowest heat, fastest heat, if you know what I mean. Fastest time in Q3, for reference, 2:45, and the fastest time in this one, 2:48.0. So I don't know, these guys could be in a little bit of danger with that time. We'll see now what the times are for the other one, if we can possibly get them. Well, now, of course, we have to see who the top 12 are as well to get through to the semi-finals. But those guys up there, Serene Logic, for example, Steen, Johan, should all be safe into the semi-finals. Should be safely through. It's the guys on the cusp that have got to have a clean heat. So then, what was the other race? Velvetorian with a 2:52.0 ahead of Ludwig Rossibo, Griffin 06, Vladislav Denov and Morgan Olsen. For those asking for the results, they are not available to show on stream because they are currently being worked on a very ugly looking Google Sheets. So you'll have to deal with me attempting to read them out correctly. Currently, the results are only available to people in the WERC channels for WERX. So currently, that's what we're dealing with. So I believe actually that was a Q3 race we're looking at, not Q4. So it looks like one of the Q3 races was run kind of late. Quick look here. Yeah, look, yeah, so Q3 race was run late, so there's going to be a change in results there. Velvetorian and a couple of those guys are missing from Q3, but they've just finished their race. Just double check, just check if the times are different. No, that's definitely a Q4 race. I think it was just marked incorrectly. So yeah, the other race, Ludwig Rossibo, second place, 2:52 for Velvetorians. That's good enough at the moment. Let's have a quick look. This has not been inputted just yet. Q3 2:52.0. So that'll be enough to slot them into currently 5th place for the winner of that race. That's P5 provisionally for them. So 52.0 and a 52.5. So that'll be good for 5th and 7th, I believe. So the other lobby now, who is going to be lining up for us? They're just sorting out at the moment. Damien is in with the rest of them. So I think we're going to have Fusion John and Vladislav Denev, at least. Ludwig Rossibo in there as well. So possibly could be rerunning their lobby. It's a bit of confusion over whether those are Q3 or Q4 results. Either way, the guys went quicker. I think there could be changes to the Q3 results anyway, at least. Okay. Aha. So it looks like the other race was actually Pedro Silva, Ludwig Rosberg, 9 red, Kiko, and Lembrex. 2:49.4 for Pedro Silva was the fastest time there. Well, that's going to be close. 2:49.4 would. Oh, that's a couple of hundredths in difference between himself and Serene Logic. But I believe Serene Logic was marginally quicker. Yes, he was. 2:49.43 at a 2:49.48 for Pedro Silva, and that should be him in P3 provisionally. So Pedro Silva sliding into P3. Ludwig Rossibo 2:52.4. So that'll be him a little bit further down. But Pedro Silva's currently provisional P3. And there's the official result, 2:48.0 for Steen. They're currently getting sent in. Let's see, a good result for Pedro Silva, P3 provisionally in this heat, in this Q4. Before they input the results. But judging off, I think it should be. I'm going to try and attempt some maths, but I believe it should be Steen who will win. We will get the TQ top qualifier. Because he's consistently been in the top 3. It was a second, first, third, first for Steen. Right. I'm going to attempt some maths here, but I'm almost certain that Steen is going to claim the TQ spot. But what we're really looking at is who is going to be in that all-important P12 at the end of it. Because that is the final driver to get through to the semis. Here we go, another race to have a look at. We're going to have Alex Molnar, Luis Mora, LSM, and Morgan Olsen lining up for Q3. Q4, I keep saying Q3, it's Q4, the final qualifier. And they're going to be in the Q4, race number 3. While race 4 and 5 also happen in the background as well. Here we go for Q4, race 3. And these guys are all on the cusp of getting through to the semi-finals. So this is a really key race. Cloudy and overcast, still sunset conditions. I think it's the first we're going to see of the Renault Clio, currently piloted by Morgan Olsen. LSM, 4 different nationalities: Sweden, Denmark, Portugal, and Hungary, all lining up for this one.
Use the Joker lab to your advantage. You only need to
Here we go for Q4 race 3.
You'll get a time penalty.
All important points up for grabs for the final spot in the semi-final. Morgan Olsen on the outside in the Renault Clio. Alex Molnar in the Peugeot, and the 2 Audis on the inside line. So here we go. Q4 race 3. On the line, ready to race, light on. Away we go, Good start from Louis Moore and then Alex Molnar in the middle of the grid as they come through turn one. A little bit of wheel banging as they come through there. Out in front comes the Robin Larson livery Audi of LSM. Alex Molnar behind, and a move from Louis Moore up the inside of Morgan Olsen pushes him through turn number 2. Relatively clean. LSM leads Alex Molnar in second. Louis Moore in third, and Morgan Olsen. Does anybody joker on this opening lap? Louis Moore is not top 3, do not. And it looks like Morgan Olsen is going to take the joker, but up to the front. Good battle now happening between Alex Molnar and LSM. And towards turn 6 then, on the inside line, Molnar trying to find some space on the Audi up ahead of him. Now need to be careful they don't lose too much time to Morgan Olsen. He's the only one who's jokered at this point. I think he have a decent gap over him at this point across the line. And these guys all separate at 1.5. Morgan Olsen quite a ways back by the look of it, 6.4, so they're quite safe. And we're going to see now, does any of them joker on this lap? I wonder, is Alex Molnar going to dive? No, he's not. Louis Moore is going to dive to the joker in the Audi, so he's going to come out clear out in front of Morgan Olsen. But I wonder, should Alex Molnar have jokered on that lap? Because he seems to have quite a lot of pace advantage over LSM at this point, but the Dane holding on well, a little bit wide as they come through the chicane. Defensive line from LSM. Molnar trying to find his little look on the inside line. On to lap 3. I reckon he's going to pass the joker on this lap. Stand a chance of jumping LSM at the merge over the jump. Aiming for time, of course, the spot in the semis. LSM a tiny bit wide. Molnar surely going to joker. No! Looks like LSM going to jump first, and Molnar now has got some clean air to try and get through. Now, one is very close between LSM and Louis Moore at the merge. But I think LSM has got ahead, and actually he's a mile off the track in the gravel. So LSM, a mistake out of turn 5, but he's got back going again. Now Molnar has got an opportunity to try and get out in front. This is going to be perfect. Coming across the line. Personal best lap 40.0. Gap is 2.5 seconds. I reckon Alex Molnar should have done enough here in the plug. Up and over the jump in the final time. Flick to the right hand side. Watch for the merge. It's going to be really tight. 2.6. He's opened it out, and I think he's done enough into the joker. Alex Molnar, I think, is going to have enough to get out in front. LSM has got a good run as he comes around the outside. Molnar trying to find space on the inside line. They're going to be neck and neck. LSM defends now. Molnar sends it one round the outside line. He'll turn to the inside of the chicane. LSM runs it tight on the inside and nicely holds on to the lead. Molnar tried it, but it's not over yet on the inside line. Banging doors to head towards the final corner. Racing for time. Molnar sends one in up the inside, but LSM does enough. Molnar behind. Louis Moore close behind as well. Morgan Olsen across the line in last place. Great race between those guys. Very close. And LSM just doing enough to hold off Alex Molnar at the merge. 2:51.2 is the time from LSM. And we'll wait to see where that's going to put him. So there you go. Fantastic racing between those. So there we go. Just a 2-car race between Fusion John and Vladislav Denev, and Fusion John managing a 2:48.840. And I tell you what, I think Fusion John might. He's just stolen P2. What a fantastic result for Fusion John in this one. Slotting into second place in Q4, just 0.7 of a second behind Steen. That's a great result for Fusion John. That's come out of nowhere. Great job from him. As they continue. But yeah, surprise results for Fusion John. Comes out on top in P2. What a result for Barrel Roller Esports. They'll be delighted with that one. I know Is Amusing is going to be supporting him in the chat, but he beats Serene Logic, he beats Pedro Silva, he beats Yogan. That's a great result, and I think it might have secured him a spot in the semis. But yeah, confirmed that Steen no control, winning Q4. Fusion John second, Serene Logic P3, Pedro Silva P4, then Johan Lundqvist, Tomahawks LSM P7, Alex Molnar P8, Ludwig Rossibon 9 red, Luis Mora, Kiko, Lembrex, Stranger, and Morgan Olsen. Vladislav Denev behind now, I think, just off to the side, I believe. The semi-final, who has made it into the semis? Then top qualifier Steen No Control wins the overall qualifiers. Serene Logic P2, Tomahawks in third, Jogan, Pedro Silva, Kiko, Alex Molnar, Lembrex, Rossibo, Stranger, LSM, and securing the final slots in the semi-finals is 9 Reds. Even after that fantastic drive from Fusion John, he misses out by a mere 2 points on the semi-finals, but he did a great job in that second qualifier nonetheless, but he has not made it. And Luis Mora was tied on points with 9 Red for that one, but it was a better Q3 results for Luis Mora. But semi-final 1 then. Let's have a look who's going to be lining up for it. So, it'll be Steen, No Control, Tomahawks, Pedro Silva, Alex Molnar, Ludwig Rossibo, and LSM into the semi-final 1. So if you're not sure how that works, drivers 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11 get put into semi-final 1. Then 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12 get put into semi-final 2. So they split it all up. So plenty to come. Semi-finals on their way in just a moment. But even if he didn't make the semi-final, I'm sure Fusion John is going to be over the moon with that Q2 results, Q4 result, excuse me. So very, very close. 1.6 seconds between the top 5 in that one. So let's have a quick look here. So by 7 points, Steen No Control winning the TQ spot. Serene Logic and P2 on 180 points. Then Tomahawks on 165. Johan Lundqvist on 162. Pedro Silva 158. Kiko No Control 144. Alex Molnar 143. Lembrex No Control 139. Ludwig Rossibo 138. Stranger 127. LSM 125. And then 9 Red 124. And Luis Mora on a tie at 124. Fusion John 122. But they still score points as a result. Top 16 get points in the qualifiers, and 16 points go to Steen, of course, for winning the TQ spot. But now, stick around, because the semi-finals are coming up very shortly. But they will, of course, we still have to decide the grids and the way that's going to be done as well. The drivers will need to run in a full format race, but they will crawl around in their grid, in the grid positions that they are due to start in, which will give them the grid slot for the semi-final. That is how it's going to be run. So there will be a little bit of a time delay while that is sorted out. Right, so semi-final lobbies are currently getting set up. And thank you to all of you who've stayed with us. We've been on the go now for 2 hours. 2 hours. We've been going in this one. We're heading to the semi-finals in just a moment's time. So stick around, because that is going to be really intriguing. to say the least. So every single point is getting totted up. The overall standings are also getting updated at this time. So, of course, 30 points is the maximum score that you can get championship-wise. At the end of this one, if you win, if you get the TQ spot, if you win your semi-final and you win your final, you get a full score of 30 points. So the guys will now be trying to stop everyone from getting a 30-point score. So I think almost ready for semi-final run. Remember, can't give me words out. Top 3 from the semis go through to the final. The bottom get eliminated. 4th, 5th, and 6th get eliminated. So that's no good. So Steen, no control, of course, with the TQ spot. We'll start on pole for semi-final 1. Tomahawks P2. Remember, staggered grids in this one as well. Pedro Silva P3. Alex Molnar next to him on row 2. Then row 3. Ludwig Rossibo and LSM starting from P6 in that one. Of course, semi-final 2. RSR Serene Logic on the pole. Johan Lundqvist next to him. Kiko, no control in P3 on row 2. Next to Lembrecht. Then Stranger, 06 and 9 Red on the back of that one. So it'll be roughly about 5 minutes until the actual semi-final race will start. In the background, the guys will be running around at the back. Well, actually, they'll be running around in their grid formation in about a 2-lap race. And that, as a result, will set the grid for the single race, which will be the semi-final. So the first race will probably not be broadcast on screen, possibly will, but you'll be able to see how the grids will be set. I think the drivers are now starting to make their way in, so a full format is getting run. So the drivers will have to crawl around in 5 2-lap races in their grid slots, and then the final will be a 6-lapper. Which will be run in due course. So, semi-final 1 drivers are currently joining the lobby. Steen, Ludwig Rossibo, Alex Molnar, LSM, Pedro Silva. Yeah. So, yeah, pity for Rennie Sutton's, of course, brake pedal braking on him. It's unfortunately out of contention, but he's, of course, the team leader for team principal of No Control Esports, so he'll be keeping an eye on his man, on his men, should I say, multiple guys. The guys, I think, are now going to just get underway in just a moment. There's just a small problem with this particular lobby. So I believe they're just setting up the second semi-final lobby as well. So it's just immediately ready to go. Okay, it's just a fresh lobby. So moving into that one now. Okay, we're ready to go for semi-final 1 then. Well, when I say ready, we're not quite yet, but we are entering into the race now. So the drivers have been briefed on what they need to do. They're going to just run around. This will take about 5 minutes to do, so stick around because the racing will be happening. So they will run around in their grid slots. So this will probably not be broadcast live, so there's no issues with that. But after all this setup is done, then the semi-final will be run. The same thing will need to be done, is currently being done in semi-final 2.
Use the Joker lab to your advantage. You only need to take it once. If you miss it, you'll get a time penalty. So
there is racing, quote-unquote racing, happening in my on my screen, but will not be visible to you because this is merely a setup we need to do to get the grids. So away they go. It's merely just nearly a practice warm-up for them. So what they'll do is they'll just immediately retire from the first 4 qualifiers, and then in the final one they'll run around in the get this. So they don't need to run the first couple. So that's Q1 done. Everyone retired. And then now Q2 will be run. They'll do the same thing. Q3 will be run. They'll do the same thing. Q4, they'll do the same thing. Then the semi, they'll just run 2 laps. And then the final of the full format, but the actual full-on semi-final will be then be run. So guys are setting up in the background. So this is this is nearly the longest part, apart from when the results were being calculated in Q1, when that was causing problems. So they're about to launch off the line for Q2 within the full format. Again, this will not be visible to you, so don't need to worry. And immediately they all retire. So that's Q2 done. It's just it's just 2 more of these qualifiers, the qualifiers that they needed to immediately retire from. And then what I like to call the warm-up laps. The warm-up laps in the grid setting one. So they'll be crawling around, just make sure they start in the correct grid slot for semi-final 1. About to get going for Q3. You should be able to, you saw a brief glimpse of what's going on, but we're keeping it hidden from you because there's no point in continuing. Just watch the LSM slam straight into a concrete barrier at full speed to make sure he retired. So at least the drivers are doing what they're told, which is always a bonus. So I believe they're also just setting up semi-final 2 in the background as well. So that should be nearly ready to go immediately. Okay, so they're about to get going for the last one that they need to retire from. So Q4 within the full format. The next one, all 6 cars will be on the grid, and they'll just run around in their pre-assigned slots, and they'll finish in that order, and that'll be the grid for the final. All right, that's Q4 done. Let's see who ended up being top qualifier out of that. So TQ was LSM for retiring last out of everybody. So there you go. Alrighty. So now the grid setting begins. They'll run 2 laps, and then the semi-final will begin. So this is just the long-winded process of setting grids. It's to make sure, because in case any of you are wondering, it's impossible to run a. This is the only way that we can get 6 cars into a final. Because normally the limit is 5. Because they normally start 5 across in a single race. So the only way we can get a 6-car semi-final with the staggered grid is to run it through a full format. And then the grids will be reflected at the end. Good to see Fusion John in the chat. Well done on your Q4 results. At least I learned how to run a whole race of the puncture. That is actually a very important skill because I get enough of them. Okay, so now the guys are on the staggered grid. So in order for the grid to reflect, Steen will need to cross the line P1, then Pedro Silva, etc., as per the grid order. So this will only take about 2 minutes. So they'll gingerly get away from the line. That is the slowest RX getaway I've ever seen in my life. So this is almost like what if Rallycross had a warm-up lap? This is I don't think I've ever seen this before. This is quite something. Got cars running around in a single file formation at about 60 kilometers an hour. No one overtaking each other, just almost behind, like they're behind the safety car. I've just watched LSM spin out on the. They're starting last anyway, so there you go. They've already jokered. They've been told to joke so they don't get disqualified. But yeah, this is quite the sight. I think we've got pictures of this now. So what you're seeing now is the guys running around at 60 k's an hour in single file to set the grid for the final. This is how we do it. This is the only way that we can get a 6-car final. So you see them crawling around. Steen now, the safety car, per se. Everyone doing what they're supposed to. This is something new. You won't see this too often. I'm glad the guys are actually obeying the orders of the organisers. They're doing what they're supposed to make sure the grid is correct. So after the guys cross the line, then we will get to set the actual semi-final, where the top 3 will go through to the final of the opening round of WERX Championship. It's almost like a quick little warm-up lap for these guys. So there we go. Steen will cross the line to secure his pole. Tomahawks will start next to him, then Pedro Silva, Alex Molnar, Ludwig Rossibo, and LSM. Well done, guys. That'll be that is the grid for the final set. So now we get to some actual full speed racing. This is what we wanted to see. So here we go. Countdown begins to the semi-final one here in Catalonia. Okay. Getting ready to go then. Steen, no control, will be on the pole. Tomahawk's next to him. Row 2, Pedro Silva and Ludwig Rossibo. Then on the back will be Alex Molnar and LSM. Top 3 go through. It's all important. There's points up for grabs for the semis as well. Ready to go then. 5 Pugs and 1 Audi lineup. Here we go. Semi-final 1. Who's going to make it through? Pedro Silva with Alex Molnar next to him in the middle. Ready to race, light on for semi 1. Green line, away we go. Even start from the front 2. Looks like Steen got a good start on the inside line. Around the outside, Tomahawks. Pedro Silva now trying to get alongside Alex Molnar. 3 abreast. Almost 4 abreast. Towards turn number 2. Then 3 abreast. Tomahawks on the outside, on the inside of it. Pedro Silva all the way around the outside. Molnar in 4th place and coming through. Ludwig Rossibo up to 3rd place to the transfer spot. And through as well goes LSM. Pedro Silva dumped down with the back after the carnage. Right there with Steen leads. Tomahawks 2nd. Ludwig Rossibo 3rd. LSM takes the Joker with Alex Molnar behind him. Pedro Silva, is he going to go to the Joker as well? So these 4th, 5th and 6th all to the Joker. After all that, was Ludwig Rossibo from the back row comes through to 3rd place, and now the battle begins. Up front, Steen leads, got the start. Tomahawks following behind him in P2. Ludwig Rossibo 3rd in the transfer spot, the all-important transfer spot. And Alex Molnar getting through to 4th place with LSM in the Joker. Of course, going to just keep an eye on those guys. There's a hell of a battle going on between those guys. LSM dropping away from Alex Molnar. Pedro Silva trying to recover. He's moving fast out of these guys. To any of the top 3 Joker. Keep an eye on them. Tomahawks follows him. Ludwig Rossibo wants to do Rossibo to the Joker. So this is going to be close between these guys. He's trying to get out in front of Alex Molnar. It's going to be very tight between them. Molnar trying to hold on to Rossibo with his speed on the outside line. Should hold on to that and does. So Rossibo versus Molnar now for the final transfer spot into the final. And these guys are very evenly matched. So should be Steen and Tomahawk should be safe. Rossibo a mistake. Molnar seizes the opportunity. He's on the inside for the last corner. Can he get alongside him? No, he can't. They come through towards the last corner. Beginning at number 3. Rossibo versus Molnar versus LSM versus Pedro Silva for the final. But Molnar sends one up the inside but can't quite get the traction. LSM is also right there. Pedro Silva is still in with a chance here. Rossibo was the cork in the bottom for these guys. Steen and Tomahawks are 6 seconds out front, and Tomahawks is Joker now to try and jump Steen out in front. But look at this: 1, 2, 3, 4 cars fighting for P3. This is to get into the final. So not too much going on here. The out front, I meant 2.9 between Steen and Tomahawks, and now Alex Molnar under pressure from Pedro Silva, who's got past LSM as well. And now we see Pedro Silva now trying to get past Molnar up the inside. Can he do it? No, Molnar's also trying on Rossibo as they come over now, as they come over the jump. They're trying to see it's actually tight at the merge between, I think Tomahawks has got Steen. Yes, he has. So Steen has fallen behind and Tomahawks back in the lead. And now back to the battle for 3rd place though, because there's plenty going on. I think Pedro Silva has got ahead of Rossibo. I think he has. As they come through, yes, he has. And Pedro Silva gets to the transfer spot now as Molnar tries to get past Rossibo as well. As they come through. Oh, now Rossibo in the wall. Molnar through. Oh, no, big contact. Rossibo into the wall. And that's going to be a puncture for Rossibo. A shame for him. Pedro Silva comes through into the spur, but now the battle for the pole. This is the battle for pole position in the final, and Steen puts it in the wall. Steen puts it in the wall down to the bottom of the hill. And that has not gone well for him. He's kept 2nd place, but drops at the back. Tomahawks is on his way to secure pole position for the final. Pedro Silva fights back to 3rd. So it's all happened in the space of a lap or two. See me now, Tomahawks now out in the lead with good pace, 38.94. He's set. And no control. P2 2.8 off the back of him. Pedro Silva third. And trying to make sure he keeps that third place. Alex Molnar. Fourth place, LSM and Ludwig Rossivo with a puncture. Drops away, but Tomahawk's surprise result for him. He's going to come down to the last corner. And a great result for him. Tomahawks comes to the last corner, wins semi-final one. He's on pole for the final. Stand no control, across the line, and he will start in second for the semi. Actually, he will start third, I believe, for the final. So there you go. And Rossivo crawled around with a puncture on the front right. He's out, so we will say goodbye to Alex Molnar, to LSM, and to Ludwig Rossivo. Pedro Silva fights back to third. He's through, but Tomahawks stay no control, and Pedro Silva in third. They go through to the final, and they will start first, third, and fifth in that one. So Stein has been knocked off the front row for the final by Tomahawks. So a great drive from the Swede. He secures 8 points. Right, so now we've got to do the exact same thing for the next one. So semi-final 2 is immediately ready to go. We'll have to run the full format again, of course, but the lobby is already ready. So now, this is going to be intriguing. So we have Johan Lundqvist, Kiko, Stranger, 9 red, and of course Johan, Kiko, Serene Logic, Stranger, 9 red, and Lembrex in this one. Semi-final 2. Again, they've got to do the grid setting, and it'll be the exact same for the final, but that will be that shouldn't take too long. So I believe there might be an investigation. So there should be, I think there's going to be an investigation into the contact between Alex Molnar and Ludwig Rossivo. As I think that Ludwig feels he was squeezed off into the barrier. And again, an awesome job from Tomahawks to jump staying at the Joker. Now, semi-final 2, what is the grid going to be for this one? It's going to be Serene Logic on the pole, with Johan Lundqvist second, Kiko in third, Lembrex fourth, Stranger in fifth, and 9 red on the back in sixth place. So these are positions. Again, the top 3 go through as well. So that will be these guys. This will be for second, fourth, and sixth in the final as well. So the winner of this one will start second next to Tomahawks as well. So just getting new lobby. Just make sure that the grid is set correctly. So they need to make sure that Damien is the lobby host, so he can control everything. So then, I think we need to do the same thing again. Remember, we're the first 4 qualifiers. They'll retire immediately. Then semi-final where they run around in single file format, and then we'll have the semi-final 2. So this will take about 3-4 minutes before we get underway for semi-final 2. Righto. So, of course, Stranger in the Renault Megane, 9 red in the Mini. Rest are all in Peugeot 208s. So first of all, the guys have just got to retire immediately as soon as they start. All right then, so they're just about to get off the line for Q1 within this full format. So they will just go off the line and immediately retire. They actually didn't even move off the line in my one. So there you go. Immediately retire. Just another couple of those, and then we'll be ready to go. So I've got another 3 of those to do before we run them around in their formation lap, I like to call it. And then run semi-final 2. This will decide who starts next to Tomahawks on the front row. Just do the same again. They'll move off the line and retire. And that took about 5 seconds for them all to retire. Righto. So another 2 more of these, or 3 more of these actually, not 2, 3 more of these. So not too long to go then. Okay, so while that is going on, I'm going to take a quick breather, and we'll be back when this next heat, when the semi-final 2 is about to get underway. So I'll be back shortly.
the start lights. Let's get off to a good one.
As you can see, this is the grid setting currently going on. So Serene Logic just running some quick laps at the moment. Lundqvist in the back, then it'll be Kiko, Lembrick, Stranger, and 9 Red will line up for this race. Semi-final 2, and the all-important final to round out the proceedings today. Let's see who's going to claim that win. So, across the line, Serene Logic, we have Lundqvist, Kiko, start P3. Row 2, Lembrick's behind, Stranger and 9 Red. So the only two guys not in pugs will start on the back row, and the McGann and the Mini. So then, semi-final number 2. Who is going to get that elusive transfer spot in P3? Okay, the driver's readying up for semi-final 2. We make sure everybody's ready to go. The Serene Logic on the pole next to Johan Lundqvist. The battle's going to be between Kiko and WERX for that transfer spot, possibly Stranger or 9 Red. Can they get themselves involved? But here we go, semi-final number 2 from Catalunya to see who's going to start second on the grid for the final. Serene Logic on the pole, Johan Lundqvist next to him, ready to race light on. Green light, we're away. Good start from Serene Logic. Johan Lundqvist on the outside line. Not quite got the same start. Through turn 1 they go. Serene Logic gets the jump. Good start from him. Lundqvist follows. And behind Kiko. Slotted P3, 9 Red. Slots through the 4th place. Good start from everyone. A little bit wide from Serene Logic through turn 1 to turn 2 there. So Serene Logic leads. Lundqvist second. Kiko third. 9 Red back to the grid goes through. 4th place in the mini now, so all 3 go and stay on the standard lap. Does anybody Joker in the background? I'm not quite seeing. I think that maybe WERX and Stranger both dive to the Jokers. The top 4 have stayed out, and it's Serene Logic who leads. Lundqvist second and Kiko third. So who's going to be the first out of these guys to dive to the Joker? Interesting to see, but a little bit wide from Kiko in the background. So we'll see that as they come through. Johan just a little bit shallow through that last corner, sending it through Serene Logic. But Lundqvist putting pressure on him in the Autodauer Sweden racing car. Up and over the jump. Does any of our top 3 dive to the Joker? Seeing if anybody's going to go. No, top 3 stay as they are. I wonder, is that mini of 9 Red going to go to the Joker? And he does. So where is he going to come out? So 9 Red is going to come out just in front of WERX in the Peugeot. So 9 slots into P4 for the moment. So does he have an outside chance of just slotting into P3 in the mini? He's a little ways behind. But, we'll see in due course. But see now Lundqvist putting pressure on our leader right there. It's 39.0 from Lundqvist, quicker than our leader that time. 39.1 for Serene Logic, 39.0 for Lundqvist. Does he dive to the Joker now? He's got the pace for it. Kiko's had a problem. Into the Joker goes Lundqvist. So Kiko's disappeared off the screen. Not sure where he's gone, but I haven't seen him emerge from anywhere. He's now under. Oh, 9 Red. No, he was on the back of Kiko and now has put it in the wall. I wonder was there contact with WERX? But there you go. That's what happens. Lundqvist now has got to chase down Nigel Krutze. Serene Logic out front. These need to be perfect laps. I wonder if Serene Logic has had to respond on this lap, but I reckon Lundqvist is just going to nip away at the 10th there. Here we go. I reckon we're going to see Serene Logic dive to the Joker on this lap. Lap 4 of 6. Does he go in? Yes, he does. Responds immediately to Lundqvist, and I think he's going to come out in front. Through the Joker they come. Lundqvist on the inside line, and round the outside goes Serene Logic, and he's got it done on Lundqvist and holds on to that first place. Happy to respond immediately. Just behind, I think it was quite close between Kiko and WERX on the merger. Kiko has held on to that 3rd place now. He's now in the transfer spot, and Lundqvist is looking again on Serene Logic, going shallow into the last one, trying to put some pressure on, but good racing between the 2 World RT Esports drivers here. 38.9 for Lundqvist on that last lap. 39.0 for our regulars. So there's a 10th of a second difference between them. Lundqvist has a little bit of understeer coming over the jump right there. That'll cost him a few tenths. But our top 2 are pretty secure. And this is for second on the grid. Don't forget, so 2nd, 4th and 6th on the grid. So it's for a slot alongside Tomahawks. Lundqvist trying to start alongside Stain. Line this time. Serene Logic now onto the last lap. It looks like I think Lundqvist just settling in for a second. A little bit of a mistake through turn 2 there when it didn't get the rotation on the car there. Just keeping an eye on proceedings in P3 and 4. It looks like it's just going to stay as is, barring no mistakes from Kiko. Pretty secure where he is. Yeah, coming up to the last 3 corners, a little bit wide from both of those guys there. But now coming down to the last corner, Serene Logic. Good fight between these guys. Serene Logic wins semi-final 2, 2nd on the grid. Lundqvist is behind him in 2nd place. And now Kiko, I think, is going to secure 3rd place and the slot on the back row of the semi-final. We're going to say goodbye to WERX, to 9 Red. Almost got it done. Stranger in P6 in the Renault Megane. And that is your final. 4:04.9. I believe that is quicker than what the guys in semi-final 2 and semi-final 1 managed. So very quick between those guys. Now just one final race to come, the final. Who's going to claim the honors? But we know now Tomahawks and Serene Logic on the front row, Steen and Johan Lundqvist in the middle, and Kiko on the back in P6. Pedro Silva, of course, next to him in P5. So some very quick guys going into this heat. They're going into the final. We don't know at all who's going to come out on top because all these guys have shown some great pace. So now we just wait for the rest of the guys to join in. We'll have to do, of course, the same thing we've done for both the semis. We're going to have to run the full format and then set the grids. But then we will finally have the final for you to enjoy. Okay, so apparently now, just having a quick look, there is a steward's inquiry ongoing for the incident between Kiko and 9 Red. Apparently there was contact between them on the Joker rejoin. It's probably how we saw 9 Red end up in the barriers. Honestly, didn't think we'd still be going at this point. Coming up on 3 hours that I've been sat here. But we'll finally have the final at least coming up for you shortly. Just to make sure, have a look at the final. Yep, so Tomahawks on the pole. And Steen P2. Tomahawks P1 and should be Serene Logic P2 unless they're setting the grids differently. Is it 1, 2, 3 in semi-final start on first, second, and third, and the rest of them start fourth, fifth, sixth? Because if so, then that's going to be even more interesting. So stay with us. Final coming up in just a few minutes' time. So do stick around. We'll be back very shortly.
on the start lights. Let's get off to a good one.
Join the general chat.
Okay, focus on the start lights. Let's get off to a good one. It's on the start lights. Let's get off to a good one.
Guys, not so fast, please.
Sting, you are P3, by the way.
All right, welcome back to those of you who are still with us. We're currently about 2 minutes away from the start of the final. You guys are currently doing the standard formation laps. They run around in their grid slots. So Tomahawk to P1, RSR3 to P2, then Stain, Johan Lundqvist, Pedro Silva, and Kiko. Full grid of pugs faces these guys, facing each other all in pugs. So this is going to be intriguing. Tomahawks starting from surprising P1. Serene Logic next to him. And then top qualifier, Stain no control. Johan Lundqvist in P4. Of course, the man in charge from the back nearly in his semi-final, Pedro Silva, and then a fellow Portuguese driver as well, Kiko, on the back row with him as well. So here we go. Tomahawks finish their formation laps. And finally, after 3 hours and 10 minutes, we're about to get underway for the final of round number 1. To those of you who stuck with us all the way, thank you for sticking with us for so long. I hope you'll be rewarded with a fantastic final race of the day. So, about to grid up then for the final. So just readying up then. Drivers can take their time to ready up, and I'm sure they'll be raring to go. And here we go then. The final of round number 1 of WERX Championship, with Tomahawk starting from pole position, Serene Logic next to him, and Stain no control in the middle behind them. Here we go, ready to race, light on for the final. Green light, good start from Tomahawk, good start from Serene Logic on the outside, going to try and sweep around the outside of turn number 1. Good start from everybody behind, so Serene Logic has to slot in behind, but is now fighting with Johan Lundqvist as they come towards turn number 2. Lundqvist now going to try and squeeze into the inside, but Tomahawk is clear as they come through. Serene Logic has to fight through. Pedro Silva, what a move, double overtake on the 2 podiums ahead of him, slots in from the back into 2nd place. Serene Logic neck to neck with Johan Lundqvist, who's Joker. Steen has to go through the Joker as well, but what a move from Pedro Silva, slots in ahead of 2 drivers, found the gap and went up the inside. He's into 2nd place now. Serene Logic still fighting with Johan Lundqvist behind. Serene Logic still ahead of him. Lundqvist trying to find a way through, and Lundqvist in the wall. Lundqvist has put it in the wall, and the entry to the chicane wasn't a combat between the 2 of them, but Steen has now in the box seat for this one because he has jokered and slots in ahead of Johan Lundqvist. 4.2 off the back of our leader, 2 seconds behind RSR Serene Logic. The Tomahawk's clear, and Pedro Silva on his tail now from a fantastic start from the back of the 5th on the grid. Who's going to joker? Does Serene Logic? No, he's going to stay. So the top 3 are going to stay and trying to open out the gap here. But Tomahawks has got what he needed to do done. He is in danger though. He cannot joker too early because Serene Logic is within earshot of him. Johan Lundqvist, he'll be fuming because he was fighting away with Serene Logic and thinking he must have been door-on-door contact or something because he's ended up in the wall and behind Steen. Serene Logic now falling back a little bit now, 2.2 off the back of Tomahawks. And Tomahawks did a really nice 38.9 on that lap. Open the gap out to Pedro Silva at 1.3 seconds. Who's going to joker this? Serene Logic goes. This is trying to cover off from Steen behind. Watch for Steen on the inside line. Can he get it in front? It's going to be really tight. Going to go to the inside with the overspeed and gets it done by inches and gets in front into third place. Great move from the Dutchman there. Just found space on the inside. Steen tried everything to keep him behind him, but he didn't got the job done. And a little tap on the barrier had to save it there, but a great move from the Dutchman, gets him in front of the Belgian who's trying to get back at him with a little bit of contact coming through there. But it looks like Tomahawks is secure in his lead, opening out the gap. He's setting some really fast, consistent 38.9s out front. Is he going to joker now? No, I think he's going to leave it late. Pedro Silva has to respond. He goes into the joker now, and he's trying to cover off of Serene Logic. I think he should be able to. It's going to be really tight. Serene Logic's going to try everything to keep him behind, but around the outside, Pedro Silva gets into second place. He started on the back row with the grid, and now he's got to fight away with Serene Logic for the second place. So now we know Serene Logic has got a bit more pace than Pedro Silva here. We'll see, can he get past here? He's going to try and get a little run on him through the last corner. He has got a little run on him here, but Tomahawks is 5 seconds clear up front. He's got no trouble from behind. He is clear, and Serene Logic with a move up the inside. Has he got it done? They're neck and neck as they come over the jump. Silva's still ahead. Serene Logic still on the inside as they go over the jump. Is he still going to be able to get it done as they come through? But now Johan, the Steen, no control. And they go up the inside of Serene Logic. He's found the space and gets it done with Serene Logic with the cutback underneath him. It's going to be really, really tight between them. Serene Logic still holds on with the cutback, gets back in front of the Belgian here, and they have to fight away for losing seconds and eking away time. The Tomahawks doing an amazing job. Little tap in the rear from Steen, who now sends him into the back to Pedro Silva. Chain reaction there from those three guys. But now they have to settle because Tomahawks is going to win this race barring any mistakes. He's 6.3 seconds clear, but he's going to joker and going to come out well in front of everybody else. And a great drive from the Swede. He's going to secure him a win in this race. But this battle for second is not over. Tomahawks miles clear out in front as they come through now. The battle for second not over though. As they come now on the last lap of this 6-lap final. And now coming for the last section. Tomahawks, what a drive from the Swede, totally unexpected, but what a drive. Cross the line, he wins in Catalunya with a brilliant drive. Pedro Silva from the back row gets second, and Serene Logic gets on the podium. Steen behind him, Johan Lundqvist and Kiko across the line for 6th place. But Pedro Silva with a triple overtake into the second corner. What a drive, but Tomahawks is your victor. Pedro Silva second, and Serene Logic 3rd place gets on the podium. Great, great final right there. Great racing, but Tomahawks is your winner from round number 1. So 3 hours and 15 minutes later, we finally get a resolution. But it is done. Tomahawks is your winner. Pedro Silva 2nd, and Serene Logic 3rd. And you'll have Steen, Johan Lundqvist, and Kiko round out the finishing order for this one. But it's been a long stream. It's been great. But thank you all for joining. We'll be back again in 2 weeks for the second round, heading just across the border into Portugal to Montalegre. Thank you all for joining, and we'll see you all in 2 weeks' time. Thank you, and bye-bye.
on the start lights. Let's get off to a good one.